because many of you identify with the left. And I don't get involved in political issues. We're not going to talk about that kind of left. We're going to talk about progressive ideology, about the woke virus. What is this? What anchors this? Because we're not going to talk about politics or economics. We're going to talk about three very specific things. Gender ideology. The perception that men are bad by nature, that we exist within what some describe as a gender war, and that there are, according to many, a wide variety of different genders. That's the woke ideology. And in particular, Charlie Kirk was someone who dismantled these myths with arguments. He would go and debate all these arguments at universities and create content. For Latinos, we can think of someone like Casa Verde in his good days, before he went off the rails. It's that kind of content, confronting ideas. Charlie Kirk believed that if we don't talk, if we don't listen to each other, if we don't confront our ideas, we can't grow and we can't develop. His idea had nothing to do with generating hate, with spreading hate. On the contrary, he wanted to heal. And he was very even-tempered. For those who have seen his debates, he was super polite. Much more polite than I am, for example. Much more polite. Much more open to other people's ideas. And he let himself be influenced. He kept changing. He kept improving. Because in the end, that's the thing. And that's the root problem I see with this event. Ideas. They're ideas, they're concepts that can be transformed, that can change, that can evolve. And if you and I debate, it benefits both of us. We both learn and we both grow. It's not a fight. It's not you against me where I win and you lose. It's not personal. Debates should generate new ideas, should wear out old ideas, should build concepts. It's not a personal thing of me. I win and you lose. I'm gonna beat you intellectually, right? I'm gonna smash your face intellectually. That's not creating a conversation, a development of ideas, a debate. That's just pure ego. That's just a need to feel superior. I win, you lose. Which has a lot to do with leftist ideology. Progressive, good and bad, oppressor and oppressed. He's the bad guy. So who Charlie Kirk was a man who debated these new ideas about what a woman is. A man who decides to dress as a woman doesn't magically become a woman. And it has nothing to do with people's rights. I don't give a damn if you want to dress however you want, my friend. You want to go to school in high heels? I couldn't care less. You want to dresses, whatever. But it's not the same thing. And these debates opened up a lot of problems. For example, in schools, because in the United States, this issue exploded. Here in Latin America, it wasn't as serious. In the United States, the issue of trans ideology exploded. And it captured certain people who were more fragile, more vulnerable, easier to indoctrinate. And this is what we saw. For those who don't know, Charlie Kirk was killed by a homosexual person. A homosexual person who had a trans partner and who felt personally attacked and violated and wanted to take matters into their own hands, wanted to take justice into their own hands. That's what happened. It's someone who felt personally offended and thought they were doing humanity a favor. And this is where it gets dangerous, because yes, people might say to me, well, yeah, he was just some crazy guy. They've already caught him, and they'll probably give him the death penalty because they're asking for the death penalty, and it's a political murder. They're probably going to give the guy the death penalty. And he was a young guy in his 20s in love with. Because at first they didn't want to say that it was his trans girlfriend. So they were saying, my roommate. It was the roommate who was in the process of transitioning. And now the messages have come out. The messages have come out. People have been asking me about it since it happened. I wanted to wait a bit until all the information came out before talking about the topic. Now the messages have come out, like, yes, my love, I want to protect you. And a simp, at the end of the day, a simp. That's why they're going to lock him up. That's why he's going to get the death penalty. For being a simp. Because after murdering a public figure, he ran to tell his trans boyfriend, I did it for you, my love. And you know what happened? The trans boyfriend showed the messages to the FBI. The trans girlfriend, actually, I don't even know anymore. I'm getting lost. It's nothing against anyone. You know that I believe in people's freedom to choose. You really crossed the line. Let's just say that trans boyfriend really crossed the line. The guy told him, don't talk to the police or give interviews. But when the cops arrived, he showed them the messages. I know who it was, he said. Delete the messages. But he didn't. So just think about how crazy that is, right? Because we can put ourselves in the killer's shoes for a moment. Let's put ourselves in the killer's shoes, because one of the narratives that comes up is, oh, Charlie Kirk was pro-guns. So what? No, that doesn't mean he deserved what happened to him. But what we do is remove the killer from the equation, which is exactly what the media does to blackmail us, to manipulate us, to emotionally manipulate us into getting angry at the victim and forgetting about the killer. Let's put ourselves in the killer's shoes for a moment. The simp is dangerous. The simp is extremely dangerous. So look, this simp, the case study simp of today, is a simp who killed someone important and also self-destructed because he's going to get the death penalty. The American state is going to kill him for being a simp. And he destroyed a family because of being a simp. Because, yes, we can say whatever we want about Charlie Kirk as a content creator, as a promoter of an ideology, as a debate expert, but that man was a family man who promoted traditional family values. He was married. He had 2 babies. Because of one crazy simp. Now the widow has to explain to a 3-year-old girl. How old is Charlie King's daughter? 3 and 1. Try explaining it to a 3-year-old girl. Why she's never going to see her dad again. Let's put ourselves in the killer's shoes. What do we know about the killer?